YouTube, B Smokehouse back here with you. Let me show you what we're doing today. Today we're going to take a little turn from normally what I do. You know, big, large piece of protein, chicken or sausage or what have you. Today we're going to do some smoked cinnamon rolls. Some of you guys will know these are smoked cinnamon buns, right? They're going to look more like cinnamon rolls instead of honey buns, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get there. Real quick, real easy recipe. The bulk of this recipe is done in proofing time for these buns. All right, so here we've got about 300 grams of all-purpose flour. Actually, I use bread flour, sorry. I use bread flour. You can use 300 grams of all-purpose flour if that's what you have. No biggie. I've got a few grams of salt in here, and I've got about half a cup of granulated white sugar. All right. I also split some of that sugar into my yeast mixture. This is one yeast packet, and about 1 cup of milk. I brought the milk to a temperature of like 95 degrees. I stirred in my yeast along with the sugar, gave it a mix, put it in a dark place, aka my microwave, so that it could bloom. And that's what you have here. If your yeast isn't like this, then chances are you need to throw it away and get some other yeast, some new yeast. Now, be advised, yeast is a living product. It's a living product. All right. So that's my yeast, milk, and sugar mixture. I've got 2 large eggs and 1 egg yolk. I've also got some gelatinized sugar. I'm sorry, gelatinized flour. So this is flour, water, and milk. So this helps to have a nice, soft, supple dough. You guys have seen me do this before, all right? So now, here's what we're gonna do. We are going to go in, let's see. We're gonna go in, we want to get everything in there, guys. Let me get a spatula. We want to get everything in there. Sorry about that, guys. I want to get everything in there. All right, that's done. You can smell it. You can smell that yeast has already started eating on that sugar. And that's what you want. That's how we know that yeast is active. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this started. Let's get my KitchenAid stand back down, and we're gonna mix this. So we don't want to over mix it, but what we want to do is while it's mixing and it comes together to a homogeneous mixture, let me go ahead and add in my eggs one at a time. And every now and then with these mixers, you've got to stop it, take your spatula and scrape down the sides. You want to make sure everything's incorporated. That's it for the eggs. Now we're going to take our pre-gelatinized flour mixture and we're going to get it in there. Let it go for a few minutes. Actually, we're going to go ahead and stop it. We're going to lift it up. And actually, it's coming together. You can see, that it's hanging there on my dough hook. And that's fine. So we need this all to come together. However, I noticed a lot of these mixers kind of do a poor job at the offset or their onset of mixing doughs. So we're going to mix it. We're going to give it a hand like that. And then, once we have more of a homogeneous dough, I'm going to go in with my my butter. So this is an enriched dough. If you don't know, enrichment in the dough process happens in the form of sugars, milks, a lot of butter added. That's what we mean by enriched. And we're going to go ahead and turn this back on. It's already coming together, looking good. While that's going, I'm going to go ahead and get my butter ready. I've got a third cup of butter. So now, one of the things we look for is for this dough to be pulling away from the sides. It's done that. However, I still got a bit of dry pieces at the bottom of this, and that's fine. We're gonna get it all incorporated. I'm gonna start adding in my butter. There's one piece. You don't want to do the butter all in one time. So usually with butter, when we add it into most of the doughs that I make, you'll see the dough split or break, and then after time, it's going to come back together. That's all the butter. We're going to let it mix for an additional 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, nothing I've done so far is that hard, guys. Now, can you do this by hand? Absolutely. Might take you, actually it's not might, it's going to take you a little bit longer. Alright, so you see how that dough is not sticking to the sides of the bowl? It's on the dough hook, that's what you want. I've got about another 2 minutes to go. Sometimes now, I will tell you this, I am going to be proofing this dough. Now, the colder your house is, once we get to the proofing stage, the longer the proofing stage will take. I can smell this. This actually smells pretty good. You can smell that sugar. You can still smell that yeast. That yeast has started eating on that sugar. That's how yeast survives. That's how it thrives. It smells good. A lot of butter, guys. This is an enriched dough. Got about another minute and 30 seconds. I've done this before by hand. It took me pretty much half a day to whip this dough out. It's a pain. Your forearms are definitely not thanking you when you are kneading this by hand. One of the other things that I'm looking for when I know this dough is finished manually kneading inside of this KitchenAid is I'm looking for the dough to be rather smooth, right? What we are doing here is actually building our gluten formation. It's pretty important. It's also the difference between a piece of bread, piece of dough that gives you some spring back, and a piece of dough that's got some chew to it. We're absolutely going for softness here. Really easy. As you can see, I'm letting the KitchenAid do the majority of the work. So you see the dough's coming back together up on itself. We got probably about another minute to go. I can speed it up some. So all this stretching and kneading on itself, that's building structure. Now, when I take it out of here, I'm going to do a bit of manual kneading with my hands before we get this in a greased dish and for its first rest. Let me just wait. The dough's already looking nice, supple, and smooth. That's what you want. You can smell it. It smells pretty good already. All right, that's about the last 30 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and stop that. Let's go ahead and raise this. All right. You know what? I might let this go another minute because I want this dough a little bit smoother than it is. All right, we're gonna stop it there. I like what we have. The rest of the smoothness I can get with my hands. Let me show you how we're gonna do that. Let me adjust. Boop. Actually, let's go down. I'm gonna get you down here so you guys can see me. And here's what we're gonna do. Anytime you're dealing with a sticky dough, it's sticky because of the amount of sugar that we're using, sugar and butter. Sometimes it can be unhandleable. Let me show you how to work this. So I'm gonna scooch you up, get this out of here. Now scooch it back. So we're gonna get all of our dough. I don't have a bench scraper typically. That's what you'll see people using to control this dough, especially if they are putting this together by hand. So now, I like the smoothness that we got. I'm going to make sure to keep my hands with flour on them. Let me get a little bit closer to the camera. All right, and we're going to do some strengthening moves ourselves. That's all we're doing. I like this is a really smooth dough, and I can smell it. You can absolutely smell those sugars. Again, that is what your yeast is feeding on. It's a nice, supple, soft dough. It gives under the touch. We got some spring back. That's what you're looking for. Gotta be honest, this is one of my favorite things to do. If I ever open my own barbecue restaurant, I know that's what's around the corner for me. I will absolutely be making my own desserts, my own breads. So probably more than half of my restaurant will be a bakery. There's nothing like fresh baked bread, especially as it concerns barbecue. So I like the way this is looking. Let me show you how we're going to finish this out. This still has the first portion of the rising action for this will be, I believe, about 2 hours. So, but we're going to make sure everything is smooth. We're going to finish it out smooth. We're using the friction of the desk. So here's what we're going to do. These are strength building folds. Again, this is all about building gluten development. Flip it. Now we're going to take it. We're trying to close that seam off. Now, this is the first shaping maneuver for this. We're going to oil it. We're also going to oil the vessel this is going to go in. And it's going to set for 2 hours. You can see we got some nice development going already. See, it springs back. That's what you're looking for. And we've got a nice smooth texture. That's what you want. It's a bit still sticky, which is why I've got flour on my hands. Other than that, I'm going to get this in the rest, and I'll be back to show you what else we're going to do with it after the time has come. We're going to shape our cinnamon rolls. Stay tuned. Let me show you where we're at. We're getting ready to put this piece of dough to rest. Again, shaping it. That's what we've done. Made sure the seam is as tight and close as possible. Alright, and this is totally about strength building. I have a bowl, I have butter. You can use oil. Typically you want to use a non-neutral oil. I like butter. We're doing something as sweet as cinnamon rolls. It's a whole lot of butter involved. So we've got that down in there. The butter and the oil that you use, make sure that this dough doesn't stick. This is going to rise. The rise for a recipe such as cinnamon rolls is absolutely necessary, right? It's going to help us with structure. It's going to help that that gluten development. We got to give it a rest. We've been moving this for the past 15-20 minutes. It needs to rest. So now, the only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get some plastic wrap over this, a nice seal on it, and it's going to go into my oven. My oven, the only thing in my oven that's going to be on is going to be my light. That is enough. That is enough warmth for this. Now, it's usually pretty cold in my house. We've had a few windy days, so that temperature is dropped. So this might take a little longer than it would if you tried these in your area. The proofing process is absolutely necessary. If I'm in a moist, warm climate, again, this goes much faster. Here, I'm going to take the 2 hours that it takes, maybe an hour and a half, until this doubles in size. When this doubles in size, we're going to take it out. Start shaping our cinnamon rolls, get our mixtures ready, and then it'll go, once we have our cinnamon rolls cut, it's going to rest again for another hour. Hey, stay tuned. Alright, we back. Let me show you what we got. Our dough has doubled in size. You see some of those air pockets in it, that's fine. We're going to punch it down. So the first thing we're going to do before handling this dough is, we're going to, again, give it a punch. Give it a punch. Then we got to get it out of this bowl. Thank God we actually lubed it with some butter, or else this would be stuck. Alright, I find that too, whenever I'm making cinnamon rolls or any dough that has a high proofing time, long proofing time, I find that wrapping it in the plastic wrap, making sure that it's airtight, usually improves proofing, the proofing process. Now, we're going to get this shaped out, spread out into a square. Because now we are getting ready to press out, shape, and cut out our cinnamon rolls. Not a hard process. I've got me a rolling pin. Got some flour here on my on the bar. We're not going to force it. But you'll find that if you don't proof your dough long enough, you'll find that your dough wants to fight you. So again, like I spread it out, you'll see that it'll snap back, spring back pretty quick. If this dough starts doing that, the only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to cover it with a moist towel. Now let it set for another 5 to 10 minutes. You cannot rush this. Absolutely can't rush it. Now, it's not going to be a perfect rectangle, but we're going to get as close to a rectangular square as possible. You'll see why here shortly. So we don't want this to be too thick, or there'll be, with our mixture that I've made, there'll be too much dough and not enough mixture. Alright, we want to get it thin. We're looking at a little bit less than half of an inch, maybe 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. If you are comfortable with this, I find that when I first did this, the thinner the better. Because again, this still has to proof again. Right? When making any type of dough, any type of bread, a lot of times, unless it's like a rustic bread, you can't skip that proofing process. You'll know about it because your dough, your bread won't rise. But real simple. I've done nothing hard that you can't try as a first timer and simply nail it. Alright, we got main thing is these edges can be really thick. So we're gonna roll those out. And then I'll even it up. I got a knife over here. You'll see that come in here shortly. So doing this ensures that all our rolls are pretty even. Now I haven't really mastered this because I don't do these every day. However, I think that's thin enough. Now I'm going to show you how I square my edges up. I've got a mixture here. So it's brown sugar. I use some brown sugar, a stick of butter, a pinch of salt. I use some Caribbean rum, and I use some sugar in the raw. Alright, and we're going to get this. We're going to, actually it smells already like we're in Cinnabon. Smells good. Alright, we're going to get all this on. Now, you can absolutely overload this. However, what you'll find out is that when you go to proof these, during the proofing process, it'll push a lot of your mixture out. You don't want that. So we're gonna rub this all over the dough. I'm going to leave a border my edges clear of this mixture. Alright, that's about it. I wish you guys could smell this. You're smelling that cinnamon. The butter, of course. And so that butter's going to heat up and warm up when we cook these. I am cooking these on my pellet grill outside. Alright, so that's spread. Well, here's what I might do. Might add a little bit more cinnamon to this. Some other flavors you can add to this, absolutely vanilla. I put a few shots of vanilla in this as well, along with that Caribbean rum. And we're gonna call it right there. You can add some pecans, some walnuts to this if you like. That cinnamon is absolutely helping that smell and flavor, that classic cinnamon roll that we know. All right, so now we're going to start rolling this up, and it needs to be tight. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do with my knife here. Alright, so we're going to take this, we're going to go here, then we're going to start rolling. It needs to be as tight as possible. Doesn't look tight now. Give me a few minutes to get this going, and then I'll show you what I mean. So, and we pull it back on ourselves. Roll it, pull it back on itself. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. It smells pretty good. There we go. We want to make sure we get that filling all across. So now I'm going to make sure I got flour in here, because now we're going to portion these out and cut them. Nothing too hard about what I've done. And it hasn't taken me that long. Again, the longest process of this is actually the wait while these rise. Alright, so now I'm going to square up my ends. I'm going to cut those off. Cut those off. Now I'm trying to go for, I've got my dish here, and I'm trying to go for either 6 or 9. I think I should be able to get 9 out of this. You see, these are going to be some pretty thick cinnamon rolls. That's what I'm going for. So let's see. We go about in the middle. Then we go here. We're gonna have an oddball, but we're gonna go for it. Now we're gonna portion these out and get them cut. All right, there's one. There's 2. Now remember, these are going to proof again. There's 3, 4, there's 5, 6, and 7. So now, here's what I have, and you can see my filling coming out. That's fine. Alright, so now with my pan here, I'm going to take butter. Now I could use oil and all that. I like butter. There's butter in this product, and we're going to make sure that these don't stick. That's why we're buttering up this pan. Alright. Again, these are going to proof again for about another hour, hour and a half. At the same time, about the time they're done, I'm going to go ahead and get my pellet smoker started up. Not really smoking these on the pellet smoker for the smoke flavor, because the temperature at which these are going to cook will be really light smoke. So one of the chief complaints of pellet smokers is that there's no real wood flavor. I think for this particular recipe, that's a plus. So I don't want these smelling or tasting like oak. However, a little hint of flavor would be fine. So now we're going to start taking these and setting them off. Alright, so we go here. Here. You know what? I forgot to. So here's what we have to do. Let me show you guys what I'm doing. Get a better look. We're going to take that tail and we're going to tuck it. And we're going to sit on top of the tail. Alright? Again, we're going to take that tail, we're going to tuck it, and we're going to sit on top of the tail. By the time these proof again, they should be all touching. At least that's what I'm going for. That's what I want. Alright. Take the tail, tuck it, and then set it in there. Bit messy now. Messy than I saw. This is a different method that I've tried before. The other method is I've used just straight raw brown sugar. Not as messy as this. However, with that butter, as it starts to melt, you'll see and start smelling it coming out. So I'm not mad at that. It's actually a pretty good smell. And then we're going to, again, taking it, tucking the tail, getting it in the pan. I want these to be touching. Take it, tuck the tail, and put it in. Take it, tuck the tail, and in. Alright, so we're gonna portion them out close together. These still got some more rising to do. Like I said, it's a bit messy. However, as they spread out, this mixture is absolutely going to coat the bottom and make itself into like a caramel. That's kind of what you want. And that's also, if you're trying to make these just like one of your favorite places that make cinnamon rolls, cinnabuns, this is how they do it. Okay, and that's it. Let me get my hands rinsed off, and let me show you what we're looking like. Alright, let me show you what we got. This is what we have. Doesn't look like much now. Alright, a bit messy, and that's fine. These are going to proof again for another hour, hour and a half. I'm going to wrap these in a saran wrap, get them back into my oven with the light on. No heat. The light is enough heat for proofing. And then I'll be back when I'm getting ready to toss these on my smoker. Stay tuned. Alright, let me show you where we at. So these have been proofing in the oven with only the oven light on. Again, the oven light provides more than enough heat for the proofing. Now, some people's oven, if you don't have an oven light, I would like to remind you that one of the things that you can do is turn your oven on, you know, real quick, about 5 minutes, then turn it off, then stick your dough inside of that oven. That's more than enough heat for it to proof. Let me show you what we're looking like. Alright, so my pellet smoker outside is going. I got it on 375. Right, these are going to go in there 375 for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, my pellet smoker is producing a bit more smoke than I like. I know bread can be quite delicate. I'm going to cover these for the first 15 minutes with foil. In the last 15 minutes, they're going to go uncovered just so we can get some color on the top here. One of my critiques about pellet grills, which is why I only have one, is that sometimes, especially when I'm cooking briskets on that pellet grill, the top of that brisket, that's actually more exposed to the heat and to the smoke, doesn't get the color that I like. So, I can tell you these are going to be absolutely delicious. You already have this syrup here forming. So this has leached out to the bottom of all of these. You can see in some of the cracks and crevices that is down there. This is going to form the caramel that's going to coat the bottom of those buns. It's not going to dry up. It's also going to keep this moist. Now, these have doubled in size. This is how you know these are ready to go in the oven. So stay tuned. I'm going to be tossing these on my pellet grill. I'm going to bring you along for the ride. Alright, here's what we're looking like. Got a bit of wind out here, guys. This is why I'm doing this on my pellet grill. I went ahead and put a layer of foil on here. I want the heat. This will be on here about 25 to 30 minutes. First 15 minutes we're going to cook cover, and then I'll come out, take this off for the next 15 minutes, and then I'll probably be probing these. I'm looking for complete total doneness, and then yeah, we'll be back. Thank you for staying tuned. YouTube, we're going to go ahead and close this video out. Let's recap what we did. I want you guys to be able to see what we got going on here. Finished tray of cinnamon rolls, smoked might I add. And then we've got one I've got for my closing photos. Let's talk about what we did. So, got up this morning and I made my dough. I believe it was 2 eggs, 1 egg yolk, sugar, salt, 300 grams of flour, yeast, most importantly. Alright, put it all together. Then this dough set and proofed for about 2 hours. I believe it was like right at 90 minutes, hour and a half, 2 hours. It proofed in my oven with the light on, no heat. That light from the oven provides enough heat for things to proof. Once this dough proofed for 90 minutes, I then took it out, I floured my work surface, and I began rolling it out into as much as a square as I could get it. Once I did that, I went down with my mixture of cinnamon, I believe it was cinnamon, sugar, and brown sugar. I use also sugar in the raw. I whipped it to make it easier to spread. And then I went down on my dough. After that, I took the dough and rolled it up. After I rolled it up, made sure it was tight, I then began cutting discs out of the dough. After that, I then put the dough in this pan. It came out to about 10 buns. And then I wrapped it real tight with saran wrap. Got it back into my oven, light on only, for another hour, hour and a half. At that time, I went outside and I started my pellet grill. I don't have many pellet grill cooks on my channel, so that's getting ready to change. The pellet grill has its place as far as cooking is concerned. Now, there are some things I do not like about all pellet grills, and some of that involves colors that you get or lack thereof when you mess with pellet grills. However, I think we did a great job with these cinnamon rolls. So I've got one I've taken aside. We're gonna get a taste test here on camera. Then we're gonna go ahead and close this video out. Now this is my first time actually doing cinnamon rolls here on camera. And again, they're real simple. You can find some of these recipes. You can find some of these recipes on online. They got easier recipes than the one I did. I chose to do the one that I've done because this is the one I've been doing for years. I continue to tweak it. This time, one of the tweaks was I went a little bit heavier with cinnamon because I know once I use everything else before, I've used nutmeg, allspice in this, it kind of takes away from that cinnamony taste, and that's kind of what you're going for on a cinnamon roll, hence the name. So now we're going to cut into this. I can smell it. It smells delicious. Let's see what we got. That's delicious. That's better than store-bought, I can tell you that. See how much rise we have on this bun? We got some length to it. This is, you see I push it down, it comes back up. That's really what you want. Cinnamon is hitting. It's not overly powering. Most importantly, all throughout this cinnamon bun, cinnamon roll, is moist. That Tang Zong that I made. That is the Japanese bread making method. That's why we have this lift. Actually, the yeast would be the yeast, and the rising of the yeast is why we have the lift. But the moistness, that's what that hydrated gelatinized flour gets you. It's real moist. Now, one of the other things, had I cooked this the whole time in my oven, the top would have been a little darker. That's what I want. Color equals flavor in most instances. Unless, of course, we're talking about burnt, right? Nobody wants anything burnt. However, this is absolutely delicious. I'm going to get me some milk. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to enjoy this. B Smokehouse here with you. If you haven't done so, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to seeing the comments that you guys are leaving. Again, please get outside and cook something. Other than that, again, thank you for your support. Give these cinnamon rolls a try. These probably stay around here for the next few days, and then they'll disappear. People will, start eating them up. Other than that, thank you for your support.